Men and boys are in bad shape. They're in real bad shape. That's the argument of Richard Reeves' new book, Of Boys and Men. Or maybe I shouldn't say it's the argument. It's just what the numbers say across a huge range of domains. Health and education and income and happiness and friendship and on and on. Reeves is a senior fellow at Brookings, where he's been studying inequality and poverty and family policy and gender inequality for years. And that work has taken him to an unexpected, even uncomfortable place. When we think about gender inequality, we're usually thinking about women and girls, and for good reason. Men have been dominant, forcibly dominant, legally dominant in society functionally forever. And only in recent decades have enormous barriers been even weakened. But the progress women have made in that time is remarkable. Here's one stat Reeves offered that blows my mind a bit. Title IX, the big gender equity and education bill, was passed in 1972. At that time, there was a 13-point gender gap in bachelor's degrees, with men, of course, ahead. 13 points. That gap has only grown since to 15 points, but now it's women ahead. So the gap is bigger now than it was in 1972, but in women's favor. And obviously, the problem there is not that women are doing well. The problem is that in a lot of places, men are doing poorly. They're falling behind. They're falling behind where they have been in the past. And they're falling behind in ways that are tough on families, ways that are tough on marriages, ways that are tough on children. And it gets much, much worse when you go down the income ladder. So I wanted to have Reeves on the show to take a closer look at these numbers, to think through some of the objections to them, and to ask what can and should be done here. And I went back and forth on saying this next part, because maybe it's just obvious. But at a meta level, I often think in politics, you face this implicit sense that compassion or concern is zero sum. That to care about one group or one issue is to care less about another. And I just don't believe that. I actually think there's evidence it's not true. And maybe I can talk about that in a Ask Me Anything episode sometime. But compassion, it's not measured out in teaspoons from a cup. It's quite the opposite. I think it's much more of a habit, something we get better at, something we have more capacity for, the more we practice it.